Hey everybody, Quantum here, and in this video we are going to be reviewing some very important meta setting trends of this past weekend. We just had the conclusion of the Disney Lorcana Challenge or DLC event in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This one is actually very close to me. Unfortunately, I couldn't go. I was in Toronto, but for a different event with family, unfortunately. But a lot of my friends and top players that I know went to this event and did really, really well. Congratulations to the winner, by the way, a Canadian, I believe out of Quebec, but I could be wrong about that. Regardless, though, what I wanted to do in this video is actually break down for you some of these side events. I had a lot of friends participating in these, and these did include, as you can see here, set 5 cards. We will probably break down the actual main event, which was kind of a lame duck meta post Bucky Errata, but before set 5. So a very limited format, but it is very interesting because we are obviously going into set 5, and people who are competing in this in the top end with competing on Sunday, we're not probably able to compete on the side events. So seeing if these top decks that these top players were piloting ended up or will end up making it into set 5 will be interesting. But we will be going ahead and taking a look at some set 5 decks and what was winning these side events. So let's start off with this one. 48 players in this side event here that included set 5. The winner was Ruby Sapphire. I do think at the start of this meta, Ruby Sapphire looks to be very well positioned to be a top deck. We've got Emerald Steel taking second place. Very surprising, but I definitely think that this deck is still viable, similar to how it was in set 3 prior to Ursula's return. I didn't really expect Amethyst Emerald to really have a decent showing, but we'll take a look at this. Ruby Amethyst always popping up as always. We'll see if this Amber Amethyst version is aggro or not. We got Steel Song, which I think is also one of the strongest decks in the format. Can surprisingly enough compete with its worst matchup in Ruby Sapphire by being more aggro focused. I've talked about this a lot in my Amber Steel Song adaptation video for set 5 already. We'll take a look at this and see kind of how this is being piloted. We've got, this is insane actually. Look at this. 1st through 8th place. This can't be right. They're all unique decks. We got Steel Amethyst, and we've got of course, what I think is one of the strongest decks in the format, at least in set 4, Amber Emerald. If I was going to the DLC in Toronto, this is probably what I would have brought. But yeah, we'll take a look here. Let's start off with the winning list, the Ruby Sapphire. We've got, okay, very interesting. So the set 5 cards that are being included, Tipo and Visions of the Future. I've talked about this Visions card before. Very, very useful in Ruby Sapphire. In my opinion, better than the Develop Your Brain, but this card is still being played. And again, this person won, so they must know what they're doing. The Tipo, I think, is one of the, if not the strongest addition for Ruby Sapphire, simply because, as you can tell here, the songs, the uninkable songs, the bricky songs are all gone. You need to play your Be Prepared, so that's fine. If you notice, they're also on 4 Sisu Empowered Sibling, which is also kind of like a pseudo Be Prepared, especially with combinations of the Ice Block and the shift targets of the 4 Sisu Daring Visitor. But the Tipo, being able to play this and cut the 1 jump ahead, gives you so much more resiliency because it's 1 less brick in your hand, right? An uninkable card that, yes, you could technically with ink with Fishbone Quill, but if you top deck it, it feels so bad. At least Tipo is a character. Yes, it inks from your hand, but you can make up that advantage with the Hiram, obviously. And of course, the biggest thing is that now you don't get this ripped out of your hand with Ursula, Deceiver, right? Tipo, better as a character than as 1 jump ahead as a song. So this card definitely coming into the meta. Very, very powerful card in my opinion, and a great addition for Ruby Sapphire. We've got 1 Hide Away and 2 Cusco. So this is the anti-location and anti-item tech that Ruby Sapphire is able to play now. Great for mirror matches for opposing Sapphire decks to put that Lucky Dime into the Inkwell, preventing the Tamatoa from getting it back from a discard pile that you would normally be able to do against like a Beast Hard-Headed or the new Simba. So that's very strong as well. And notice that they are on 4 Sisu and 4 of the little Sisu. This will help them combat aggro, which is their toughest matchup, giving them more resiliency against a deck like Steel Song aggro, which I've talked about in the past as well, being how you have to play Steel Song now if you want to have a chance against these Sapphire control decks. 3 Medusa, still very powerful threat in this version. And what I will say is, this more standard air quotes version of Ruby Sapphire, right? No 1 jumps, no how far all goes, but not using the Maurice's Workshop build, which I think, in my opinion, is the stronger version. But obviously, this version is still very, very strong. And let's count the uninkables now in this one. We've got 3, 5, 9, 12, 16, 18. So that's a pretty big improvement over the 20 to 24. Playing 24 is crazy. Uninkables that the deck would play before. 18 is much more manageable. And what's also interesting is, some of these are a lot lower to the ground, right? Like you're not relying on, like I said, cards that have virtually no impact on the game state. Like, yes, 1 jump and how far I'll go will ramp you and replace themselves. but like Sisu is a character on board that outs a threat, right? Madame Medusa outs a threat. Sisu outs a threat. So these are like progressive cards that actually impact game state more than just Rampu. So yeah, I think Ruby Sapphire is in a really, really good spot. Emerald Steel. This, oh, not a discard version. What? Chief Bogo. No way, dude. 4-cost uninkable Chief Bogo on how many Floodboard? 3 what? 3 ofs? What is this, Yu-Gi-Oh? Come on, man. You can play. What? Cheshire Cat. Big. Wow. Okay. I'm a fan. I see Big Cheshire Cat. I'm a fan. Okay. Of course, Pete. So, okay. So, Chief Bogo, how many Floodborns are we playing here? What? Like Flynn? Okay. Like, I'm confused by this deck, but I mean, I guess it's aggro at the start and then it starts Floodborn controlling in the later game. That's very interesting. So, you got 4. Only 3 of these songs, okay, and no Ursula Deceiver of All, right? So you're not getting double value off these songs, but I guess, you know, you ping with these, ping with Bogo, finish off with Cheshire Cat. That's pretty strong. Wow, I'm actually very intrigued with this list now. Okay, anyways, let's count the Floodborns. So we got 4, 3, 3, so that's 10, 16, 18, 20, 23? That's a lot. Whoa, that's more than I would. Only 2 Brunos, okay, but let me just double cut. We got 4, 3, 3, 3, that's 9, that's 13, 16, 19, 23. Okay, that's a lot of Floodboards. I guess that's enough, yeah. Procking that Chief Bogo. All right, wow. Happy to see that in the meta. Let's take a look at Bounce here. Discard Bounce. Bro, what are these decks people are playing? Like, these are things that like have never shown up before. I mean, it's cool. I like it, but like, how does this win, bro? You're not aggro enough, and like the discard doesn't seem like it would be that strong because the purple doesn't do anything to assist the discard, does it? Like, I mean, purple, like playing the strong purple cards, like I get it, right? Like you're playing like literally just the best purple cards. Snake, Fox, Friends, I mean, Castle in and out of the meta, I guess, depending. And this big Ursula, I mean, as a shift target is really strong. I guess, you know, like, okay, interesting. I mean, you know, kind of cool. Ruby Amethyst, what set 5 adaptations have you gone with here? All right, I've talked about Cusco coming back into the meta. I've talked a lot about Teeth coming back into the meta, so good to see that. Interesting to see Pinocchio in here as well. I'm not a big fan of the 2 Flynn and 2 Sisu. Like, that just seems kind of, you know, hit or miss. I mean, you're not playing this for the consistency, obviously. You're playing this for, I don't really know, actually. It's kind of hard to tell. 3 of the Maleficents still, okay. 2 Crab, no set 5 stuff from what I can see here. A Spellbook, 1 Bee King, only 2 Castle, 2 Tremaine, 3 Bee Prep, 1 Random Dragon. Not really a fan of this list, but I mean, it works. Talked about Rafiki coming back into the meta as well. Yeah, just because aggro is more prevalent, right? So Rafiki definitely putting in the work. I don't know. This is very interesting to see these lists. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Okay, yeah, it's the aggro version, right? I'm amazed to see how expensive foil Lilos have become. I picked them up for like $5, and I did not expect them to go to like 25 Canadian. This is absolutely insane. All right, but you got Daisy Ducks in here, and you notice how these top decks are not running Daisy Duck, right? Like this one got top 8? 5th, yeah, top 8. So, you know, Daisy Duck is still a strong card, but I definitely think the price is going down, like I mentioned in my Market Watch video, right, guys? Like, especially with Big Box now coming, the non-foils of Daisy Duck, I think, just start to go down. But I do think Steel Song will be a top deck in the meta. Anyways, yeah, we got a lot of 1-drops as expected, a lot of 2-drops as expected. So this looks pretty similar, pretty standard to like what most people would be running. No Amethyst Chromacon, which I know a lot of the top players are definitely running. In my first version of Amber Amethyst, I ran the library over Amethyst Chromacon. Again, not sure if that's correct. Obviously, this person made it work, getting top 8 in a 48-player event. So good for them. And only 2 library. I think this card is insane, by the way. Library, guys. Okay, I get it. Okay. You don't need to comment on it. Anyways, yeah, 4 Donald, 4 Baloo. I picked these up for $2 in foil. I think they're like 5 or 6 now, but I think this card's going to go up. Baloo, for sure. Really, really good card. The Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom, okay, as a 2 of, I like it. I don't like more than 2, but, you know, that might change over time. I was never a big fan of the Simba, but, you know, I guess, you know, including it makes sense. Only 2 Bare Necessities. That's very interesting. You know, it makes sense because, like, you think about this, and you're like, I need to rip like a critical song when they could potentially like just destroy my board, and this card could help you snipe it out. So that's interesting. Let's see here. Let's see what this Sapphire Steel is on. Okay, they cut the Robin Hood package. So again, the people who are commenting on my video who were like, yeah, we were like thinking about cutting Robin Hood too, like, there you go, guys. Like, it does seem like you can cut it and it will be effective. I mean, again, if aggro is super popular, I think you keep the Robin Hood, but this is a pretty interesting... Yeah, this is an aggro list, right? Like Smee, Piglet. If you see Piglet, it's an aggro list. The Daisy Duck obviously helps facilitate that as well. And then you move in. Yeah, these are like Benja coming back in. Just a 2 quester, right? Just like a 3... Like, banish an item and just quest for 2. So good. Lawrence, yep. Okay, Strength, World's Greatest. 4 Zeus. I've talked about this as well. Like, Zeus as a 4-up is almost necessary now. Like, I think foil copies of Zeus just go up to like 20 bucks. I know they're like 10 right now in Canadian. But like, you need 4. If you're playing Steel, I think you need 4. Sapphire Steel, Amber Steel, even Emerald Steel. I think you can afford to play 4. Okay, 4 Rapunzel, yep. 2 of the Ariel. I respect it, but I mean, if you're playing Ariel, I probably won't bother with the 1-drop Cindy. Like, I guess, you know, you get value off of these and the World's Greatest, but I think you just put more value on developing the Ursula here because it can sing Zeus. That would be my only gripe here. I don't know. Interesting list for only 1 Swords, which is very interesting. I am a fan of the Ariel, though. I think this card is definitely playable in the meta now. All right, let's see. Classic Bounce. Oh, on the Cogsworth. Okay. Yen Sid. Because of the broom here and the broom here. Giving resist. Okay. Interesting, spicy list. And the Rush Broom. Okay. So you got Rushers on Cogsworth to give something rush. You got Madam Mim Fox. Like, what are you dropping? And then, of course, you got the broom. What do you drop? What are you giving rush to with Cogsworth? I mean, giving Cook Rush is valuable. Giving Snake, giving Fox Rush. One of the LeFou. I mean, giving Pete Rush even is decent. It's a 3/3 body for 3, right? 3 Library. That is good. And 2 Castle. I'm telling you, man, this card is crazy, guys. The foil versions are just gonna go up a lot. I should probably buy extra as well. They're still like $2 or $3. Okay, and Amber Emerald. Okay, 2 Hidden Cove. That's kind of interesting. On the Sir Hiss, the Sudden Chill. 4 Deceiver. 4 Muses. Okay, You're Welcome is the only set 5 card. I don't understand how people are doing this, but it's only 3 copies of Under the Sea. I think you need 4. Card is just too good. Only 2 Queen and 2. I don't like that. I think you go 4 and 4. The Hidden Cove, I mean, I get it. Like, you want it for Diablo, but I think you just make the hard decision to cut something. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Anyways, that's going to do it for the first event here.